Zwift Racing League action live on Zwiftaholics. Exciting stage, iconic Champs-Elysees sprint, 6 intermediate primes over the course of the next hour or so. We're here with the APAC C2 division, and I'm here with Josh McLean. How you doing?
I'm good, Adam. Thank you for having me in the commentary box again tonight. Apologies, I couldn't make it last week. Life got in the way, and I'm good, Adam. Children and bedtimes, but it's nice to be back. I did catch the end of your call, and it was there was definitely some FOMO going on. I wanted to jump in there with you.
It was good fun, and we had some fantastic engagement on YouTube with the channel as well. So if you are watching live, I will be monitoring the chat for sure. I really enjoyed the interaction last week. So hello to Roman, who's jumped on and says he's looking forward to getting some insights for his race later today. That's why we're here as well, Roman.
Both Josh and I. We do it. That's the only reason why we do it. Right?
There's nothing better than covering the race and really getting into the nitty-gritty detail to understand how it might play out when that flag drops for our races. I'll be racing EMEA and hopefully Americas tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to go 12 laps of this circuit, but that's the plan. What about you, Josh? You're racing?
Yes, racing. I'm EMEA North, so it's the early start from me. I don't know how you're going to do the double up.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. I did it on New York, and it's almost like kind of the body's natural sort of painkillers start kicking in after that 2 or 3 hours. So you can go again, and it feels okay at the time, and then afterwards you quickly realize that was a mistake, and you're kind of shot for the next period of time. But they're just so much fun, these races.
That's true. And I have caught myself at work catching in on, or tuning in, I should say, on your second race of the day just to see how you're going.
Yeah, usually not quite as good as the first. Although my 6th and final sprint on New York was my best one for the day, believe it or not. But that was just more due to the pattern of the racing, and we finally got a breather on that final lap of New York. So I actually got to recover a little bit there, which was nice. Hello to Cy Bradley in the comments as well. He says, happy haircut to me. Thank you. It was a long time coming. We finally got there. I can't even blame COVID or anything like that. It was just life getting in the way. So we do have some action in the C2 races before you jump in, Josh. We are off and running. I knew this was going to happen. I knew we'd have this glitch just when I was in the pen. The no pedaling glitch is back again for those that saw last week. It looks like Zwift is having a little bit of trouble, but it's caught up now, and we're off and racing with the C's. So, Josh, I know you've done a bunch of background and research on this field, on this division. Give us the lowdown. Who are we looking for? Which teams are at the top?
So the teams at the top in the league standings, we've got the AHDR Chargers, the AHDR Choppers, and Z Sun Unleashed, or ZS Unleashed, I should say. I like that name. It's I do like how
clever, isn't it?
A bit of a play on word there. I need to get it right in my pronunciation. But AHDR Chargers at the top of the leaderboard, they're sitting on a total points of 98. But down to third, they're only at 89. So ZS Unleashed are only at 89. So not much separates, and then you've got AHDR Choppers sitting in between there. It has been in the previous stages, the points have been gathered by everybody, essentially. There was some real standouts last week with the cobbled climbs. We saw the AHDR Chargers really dominating that last week and taking out some good points. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out tonight, matching this stage with Beach Island Loop way back then. I think it's going to be a relatively even split in terms of who's taking the points.
Yeah, I tell you what, speaking of splits, it's been a full-on start. We've had some nasty attrition early in this race. Team Evo find themselves, 4 of them, on the wrong side of this split too. They're off the back. We see some attrition further up as well. Cryogen, a couple of riders just managing to tack on again, but further back we have a rider from TBR off the back. WMZ, 2 couple from TBR actually, and further back TV, Evo, Cryogen as well. So some early attrition in this race. If we just jump back up to the Peloton, we can see a much reduced group coming through the tunnel for the first time and heading to that lap banner. So early action here in the C grades, Josh.
Very early action, and good to see majority of those AHDR teams up in there. Our bias coming out there. But this is going to be the interesting point of the race, and it's come out really fast, kind of dropping down underneath the road, and then that short 7% increase onto the cobbles. Then what's going to happen here? We can see a real dominant effort at the front now, and starting to cause a little bit of a split with about 4 or 5 AHDR riders up there.
Yeah, let's have a jump up. Wow, we do have a strong AHDR contingent. So I think we've got the Clash jerseys on today. So it looks like the AHDR Chargers are in the conventional AHDR orange, and the AHDR Choppers are in the Americas version of the jersey with the red distinguishing stripes. So you can tell the difference between the two teams, which is good. But as you said, they are just controlling the pace up front. And I don't know, maybe this is a coordinated team tactic here just to lay the hammer down straight out of the gate, and they've dropped a number of riders off the back of this group.
Yeah, and you can see it starting to trail out a little bit at the back there. We haven't yet seen any power-ups because we haven't gone through that banner yet. So it'll be interesting to see how the power-ups get used tonight, Adam. I don't think we're going to see the effect that the steamroller had in that early part of the season on the gravel. I am interested to see what sort of effect it does have.
Yeah, definitely not the same powerhouse that it was on Beach Island Loop. And I saw the numbers on Zwift Insider this week, actually. In terms of the wattage savings, it just kind of confirmed what we all knew from riding it. Like crazy numbers, like 200 watt difference.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, more along the lines of 20 watts here on the cobbles. So, I mean, enough to make a difference on a short 150 meter sprint section like this, maybe to those first across the line and first fastest through the segment times, but definitely not the game changer that it was. I think we'll see something much more akin to the conventional power-up strategies with the aero. My prediction would be that the aeros are going to dominate the sprints here.
We still can't forget, though, and something that I want to sort of really stand on that steamroller a little bit again, is it is a 30-second power-up. It lasts for a long time versus your aero, which is only 15.
It's a good point. It would be a handy. There's definitely a place for the steamroller, I think, on this long drag. I mean, I talked about it in the lead-up video. This is, you can see the sprint banner from here, but it is like a 2-minute grind up this hill first. So, that 20 watts is something that it could come in handy. And as we say that, there was a comment in the comments about a long-range attack, and I do see if we can get up to the front, App King, Dirty Chum with the steamroller, very appropriate. So we've got a few hundred meters to go from the line. Haven't seen that sprint banner yet, but App King's opened up a 2-second lead, stretching to 3 seconds off the peloton here. And wow, he might have just stolen this one. Josh, what's your call? Has he gone too early? Is he going to get there?
I think he's still holding his power. They are chasing from behind. The AHDR team's chasing hard.
Big numbers coming from the back from the Chargers. Who have we got? Atkinson leading the charge. And yes, Apking's gone too early here. He's going to be swept up just as we approach the banner. So it looks like Atkinson from the AHDR Chargers taking it up. He is followed by Barbara from the Choppers. Koval from Eat Dirt. Looks like Atkinson has enough. We've got about 80 metres to the line. He's in the clear. Here comes his AHDR compatriot. Barbara from the Choppers just getting over the top.
He's going to get it.
Barbara takes the points. Atkinson second. 2 Team Dirt riders. Eat Dirt Cheap and Eat Dirt VA, which might be cheap in another language. I don't even know. Showing my limited capacity there to... definitely not multilingual. But it looks like we might have had Team Dirt taking 3rd and 4th there. AHDR splitting the points there between the two teams.
That was Chargers, Atkinson from Chargers and Barbella from Choppers. So just a comment on Dan Barbella from the Choppers team. He finished with the win last week around where were we? Couple climbs, picking up 72 points in the segments. So really doing a lot of work there, and then taking the 40 points on the finish line. So he actually scored the highest points for last week. So I think he's definitely a rider to watch tonight.
Yeah, well, the form is obviously continuing. And the pace up that hill has done some serious damage to this field too. Kind of thought this was going to come back together after the sprint, but now I'm not quite so sure. There are some serious numbers here opening up in the time gaps, and some serious numbers of riders off the back.
So we seem to have a nice sort of that front group holding together with a small split, just a 2-second advantage with this front group that we've got of, say, about 8 to 10 riders there.
Yeah, we've got 11 in that lead group, and then just a 2-second gap back here. You would think that this group is going to close. A couple of aero power-ups popping early. Obviously keen just to zipper this one back up, get that front group back together. And now weight of numbers here with the Peloton. This is going to be seriously hard for anyone else to get back on. I dare say that's going to be the end of that. Brill from Eat Dirt, possibly the last rider with a chance to tack on to this Peloton. Otherwise, it's going to be 5 more lonely laps for the remainder of these races. Those time gaps look like they're not going to be closing back up again.
We're seeing 5 to 10 seconds in those chase groups, though, so I really do doubt that we're going to see those guys getting back on. That front extremely reduced bunch now, or front bunch, they're going to pick up. That's where the win's going to be, obviously, I think, and where the points are going to be. So they're just going to mop up all those points from now on in.
Yeah, we'll sit in with Brill, but I mean that gap looks like it's only opening up now. He's down to 1.5 watts a kilo. He's given up the chase. Going to be jumping back to sit in with group number 2. We're closing quickly. We'll have a look to see whether they want to make an effort here and close this 14-second gap down. It's all going to be a matter of whether this Peloton decide they want to push on. Do they want to stretch that gap out and really consolidate it, reduce it to just this bunch, or are they just sort of going to sit up and wait for the next prime, which we did see happen a little bit last week on Richmond. Coming up that Governor Street climb, a lot of gaps closed that you normally wouldn't see gaps of that magnitude close down. So, I mean, you would think the Chargers here would be definitely interested in pushing the pace here. They've got 4 riders represented in this front group. 3 from the AHDR Choppers, 3 from Z Unleashed. I'm going to go with another pronunciation there. And then Team Dirt. I know they have 2 teams in this division, so we've got a couple of representatives here. So Eat Dirt Cheap,
I can see
and Dirty Chum.
Eat Dirt Cheap, yep.
So split. So we've got a few Dirt jerseys here, but split between the 2 teams, and it might be distinguishing blue caps for the. I'm not sure what the strategy is there with the kits for the Dirt teams, but advantage, well, AHDR for the most part, and looks like the Chargers are taking the early lead with 4 riders in this lead group of, was it 15 or 16 that are going to be mopping up the rest of the points for this one. Now I'm going to try and do something really fancy here, Josh, and let's see if we can just get a little instant replay of that first sprint, that final little push for the line that came from the AHDR riders.
3-ish minutes. I wanted to believe.
Official YouTube countdown is 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Stage 3 of the Giro d'Italia last night. Did you at all catch that, Adam?
I did indeed, and yeah, that was quite with the
something.
steamroller. Very appropriate. So we're back here now with a few hundred metres to go from the line. Haven't seen that sprint bunny yet, but Apking's opened
from
up
Dirty Chum,
2-second lead, stretching to 3 seconds.
The steamroller obviously
the Peloton
prompted,
here. And an optimistic attack, shall we say, going long
Josh,
range.
what's your call?
Hoping
Has
that,
he gone too early? Is he
maybe
going to get
that,
there?
that 10-15% advantage with the steamroller be enough, but as we can see, it ran out just that bit too early. We can see his wattage here actually drop off quite a bit.
Coming from the back from the Chargers. Who have we got?
Atkinson
Probably knew he was
leading the
cooked
charge,
as the
and
AHDR
yes,
Chargers
Atkins gone too
charged
early here. He's
forward,
going to be swept up just as we approach the banner. So it looks like Atkinson from the
form of
AHDR Chargers
Atkinson.
taking it up,
And
and
then
then followed by
Barbara.
Barbara from the Choppers, Koval from
On the back
Dirt.
here, we can see the wattage.
Looks like
there.
Atkinson has behold it there. Atkinson dropping down to 5.2. Barbara still coming strong at 7.1
We've got about
watts
80
a
meters
kilo.
to the line.
He's
And
in
that
the
was
clear. Here
enough
comes his
to
AHDR
get over the
compatriot. Barbara from the
the
Choppers just getting over the top.
You
would think it's almost too narrow to call. Barbara takes the point. And then just having a look at the top 10 there. So 2 riders from Dirt, 3rd and 4th. Zedson in 5th and 6th. Dirt in 7th. And then the Choppers and the Chargers picking up a couple of minor points as well. So nice start there from those top teams. I mean, you called it, as we go back to live action now, that those were the big names. They've shown it early on. They've gotten multiple riders into this front group. And yeah, it looks like those top few teams are going to be battling it out. As you mentioned, fairly narrow margins on that leaderboard. So
we'll point out that Atkins did make it into that front group after that sprint. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes again, tries that and refines that little attack, that long-range attack early. But I think the wheels to follow will be Barbella and our friend Yoza from the Chargers team. He's been very dominant in this season so far. He's probably been the most consistent rider through this season in this division and grade. So he would also be one of the riders to watch.
Yeah, I suppose I guess the question is, with these sprints coming every 10 minutes or so, what's the strategy? Do you have your designated sprinters that are going to try and go every single lap, or are you rotating to sort of give yourselves the best chance? That's been a big topic of discussion for us this week.
Look, I think we're going to be seeing Atkin going again. I've called it. There he is. He's trying his little early attack.
Yeah, not quite the same wattage yet, but they're watching him closely.
I think Atkin is probably feeling good and really trying to test the bunch a little bit here, which is not bad. And then a Z-Sun rider coming over the top. I think going back to your point, Adam, I think we're going to see the same people going again and again and looking at the results from previous weeks and stages. I think we're definitely going to see the same people. So Barbella and Yoza from Chargers and Barbella from Choppers working to get as many points as possible. Something I did note was the Chargers picking up a lot of first across the line points. That's where they're really dominating this grade and league. They're up at 201 points versus sort of 150 the other teams are sitting at. So that's where they're making their biggest difference. So I'd be really, and you can see Yoza, there it is.
Yeah, it looks like maybe a bit of a planned attack here from the Chargers. Setting off, he was quiet in the first lap, Yoza, but he's gone long this one, and he's just ignited this bunch. The power-ups are flying. Zedson taking control of this one. 3 riders now off the front, 1, 2, and 3. They're looking to scoop the pool here. What do we got coming from behind, Josh? Are they going to be able to reel them in?
There's some numbers starting to pick up around those 5 watts per kilo, but Z-Sun right off the front and a steamroller. I think that's a very well-timed steamroller, and the numbers are still big. He's going to hold out a very short sprint once he hits that green line, and he's going to hold. Who's that in second there?
Yoza in second. Barbella, your man, coming over the top to take second for the Choppers. Yeah, so a dominant sprint there from Zedson taking 1st and 5th. The Chargers in 3rd and 4th. The Choppers in 2nd. So, yeah, once again, these top teams just splitting the points. Going to be fascinating to see how this one's shaking out. It's really hard to get a sense as you're watching live of exactly who's sitting where in terms of the points. We can kind of get an impression. We know that these, Zedson and the 2 HDR teams look to have taken this, put a stranglehold around this race, but exactly who is on top is hard to tell.
You're the numbers man, Adam. I'll let you do the on the fly edition, but you can just see that splitting of the group and people reaching for those power ups as quick as possible just to get back on. We saw early Yoza went for the steamroller as he was sort of just clearly going for a little bit of recovery there as the bunch sort of just starts to come back together. So it's clear that once they've sprinted, these guys aren't interested in pushing ahead just at this point. Happy for it to sort of come back and just exert their dominance again in those sprints.
Yeah, that's where all the points are, of course, and there is one more chance to get a power up through the lap banner before that next sprint. So yeah, we saw a few riders taking advantage of that to use those power ups in a defensive mode and take a little bit of a sting out of the legs with the steamroller for 30 seconds or jump on the drafting power up to try and close the gap or the aero as we sort of head down the hill and pick up some speed. So interesting mix of offensive and defensive use of these power ups as we see APAC now going for the aero as this road tilts down, and he looks to be our last rider with any hope of getting onto this lead group, which once again is being thinned out by that long climb up the cobbles to the sprint banner.
The lead group really backing off here. They are down to sort of your 2 to 2.5, 3 watts per kilo. So they're in no rush at the moment. So APAC, we've seen that he's got a little bit of that long range power. I believe he can definitely get back on at this point. There's no need to worry for him.
Yeah, seems to be no panic here, just holding steady at that a little over 3 watts a kilo. Closing down to 3 seconds, that heart rate sitting high, but he might just have enough in him here just to get back on. So while we're having a look there, I'm just going to load up a look at that last sprint finish, and we'll have a look at particularly the power-up strategy. I think might be interesting to have a look at here.
I think B is picking up 72 points in the steamroller perfectly on that last. Really doing a lot of work sprint and was able to hold on to it a little bit longer and stay out there in front. Yoza went early with his power up also. Wasn't able to hold out. Yoza, there it is.
Yeah, it looks like so this was our maybe a bit of a planned attack here from the charges. Yoza setting off went early. Once again, we saw an early attack gone long reeled in, but he did hang on very well considering the early matches that he spent there. Zed-Sun taking control of this one. 3 riders now. Steamrollers just allowing those Zed-Sun riders to scoop the pool here. Yeah, just get that a little bit of an edge and get to. They're going to be able to run, but reel them in. Maybe the timing not quite right on this one. We see that the power-ups run out and these riders get overhauled from behind the AHDR riders, just playing their cards really nicely there, sitting in the draft and then coming over the top for the bigger points.
He's going to hold out, but they weren't able to get over that once he hits that green line, and he's going to hold who's out in front now.
Yoza in second, Barbella Yeoman coming over the top to take second for the choppers.
So I think that there's a pretty good strategy there.
Yeah, they've done well.
About that 30-second effort is and go for that steamroller if that's
so a dominant sprint. Yeah, so we can see there the time gap that opened up to those front riders. They didn't really realise how much it had split at the time, but we had those first 5 and then 8 dirt represented in 6th and 7th and also 9th and 10th. So picking up some small points there, but definitely 2 HDR teams and Z-Sun picking up the majority. And Noel Kurger from the HDR Chargers getting in some points as well. So the Chargers looks like advantage them. They had 3 riders first across the line there. But that'll be interesting to watch as we go back to the live action. APAC off the back wasn't able to make it.
Prove me wrong.
It looked good there. I was with you. I thought 3 seconds might just be enough. I didn't think this group were going to push that hard, but we've had 2 long attacks, and we saw that long range effort from him as well on lap 1. So I just took that little bit too much out of the legs by the look of it.
That has really dropped back that front group again, losing that last rider. So we still do have those 4 AHDR riders, our 3 Z-Sun riders, 2 dirt, Now 3 and 4, they eat dirt as well.
Yeah, the Chargers have done particularly well through this section by the look of it. I think we might have 4 AHDR Chargers up front and just Barbella from the Choppers representing. So, yeah, box seat Chargers for sure. All they need to do is maintain these numbers in this front group and just keep farming points the way they have been. And we saw last week, actually, around Cobbled Climbs, it was so powerful to have that weight of numbers early on, even if the group split up later. The race that I saw on the intermediates, Team Dirt, just weight of numbers were too strong early on and just accrued too many points for the AHDR team to reel back in.
Oh, interestingly, I just glanced down at my notes, and I had taken a note of Ben Munro from Z-Sun, who took that last sprint, and he was second in overall last week around cobbles, and picking up some intermediate points as well. So he was definitely playing a part for his team last week, and we're already seeing that again this week.
Yeah, he might pull some confidence from that nice move there. It looks like a coordinated move from the 3 Z-Sun riders to run a bit of a lead-out train and leapfrog him up to the front. Possibly a tilt at the fastest segment as well. I'm not actually getting that segment leaderboard, so that's a hard one for me to follow. If you have any insights on that one from your view of the Zwift world, I'd be happy to take them.
And what's going to be your strategy, Adam, tomorrow morning?
Yeah, we're hopefully none of our rivals are watching, but we're thinking of a sort of a split strategy between the 6 of us. So some rostered laps on and off for our sprinters, try and get the best result, and have that knowledge going into each lap what your role is going to be, and do you have to push or can you just sit on the wheels? So that's the plan. When the red mist descends, who knows? I'm not one who's kind of known to shy away from a sprint if I'm up near the front and I see that banner. So we will see. We have a plan, but as you know, in AHDR world, things can get a little bit organic as the race progresses.
Only way to ride, I think. So lap on, lap off for AHDR. Anyone who's watching and
anyone who's watching
tomorrow morning.
EMEA and B3 division. Yeah, interesting little comment on YouTube from Roman about some of the strategy for the first across the line, faster segment rather, that we might actually see some action but further back in the field, going for that short sprint and the fastest segment time, which is probably a good call out. I think if riders with fresh legs, not having to push as hard during the laps, could definitely have a go at that and try and get to the top of that leaderboard.
Yeah, definitely. Look, personally, I'm not a sprinter, and in my division, A grade, it's very, very difficult to get up to that front group. There's some strong teams. So we've really just been hanging on for finishing points, essentially. In the AHD hard cheesecake crew, I think we are. So I have been thinking, where do we go and where do we try and pick up a little bit more points as we step into this next lead into the sprint and some steamrollers going off?
Yeah, there was a comment just on YouTube around some audio issues. Hopefully I've sorted that out now. Apologies for anyone who was getting some weird multi-channel audio going on there. But as you say, Josh, the power-ups are flying here. And once again, Ben Munro from Z-Sun taking it up at the front, trying to go all the way from a long way out here and stretching the field again. Looks like
unfortunately he had that draft truck, but we have got Atkinson. Is that Atkinson coming through again?
Yeah, we're going to have
a
one-on-one battle here to the line. Munro sticking on well, considering he hasn't got the power up and coming back over the top. Wow, big effort from Ben Munro from Z-Sun. Looks like he might just have the watts he does to get over Atkinson in second. Nice little battle at the back. Barbara from the Choppers prominent again. Coleman for Dirty Chum up there as well. And then couple of AHDR riders maybe just rounding out the minor points there. So once again, we're seeing a little bit of attrition here. It looks like we might be losing a couple of the riders here. Mr. Atomic from the Choppers caught on the wrong side of that surge. Jay Wild from Dirt and Nigel from Zedsun trying to close this gap, but already out to 5 seconds, Josh. Are they going to be able to do it? It's a big ask.
Look, I think what we've seen is that front group. Once you're dropped, you're not going to get back on. And you and I were both privileged to see some insider notes. And Mr. Atomic earning his nickname from his amazing ways of blowing up towards the very end of a race. I don't know if you saw that, Adam. So I think we've just seen Mr. Atomic explode.
It's just spectacularly too. He's going to drop right back, wait for that second group on the road, which is the smart thing to do at this point of the race. 17 seconds back now, and yeah, just letting those legs recover to jump in with the second group for the rest of the race and maybe go for some faster segment time points. So two riders.
We do have two riders here trying to work back together. So let's go one more time, Adam, and give some confidence to these guys and hope that they get back on.
Well, in their favour is it is coming down. It was 5 seconds going across the top there. It looks like it's coming down to 3. Wild from Dirt doing the lion's share of the work here. With the steamroller power up, just trying to close in. Oh, it's the longest distance in Zwift, right? It's that they're right there. But weighted numbers is against these two riders. 2 seconds now. That I think this time
we're going to get them back on.
Yeah, I think the two of them together.
2 seconds, yeah.
Might just be close enough. Holding some nice wattage there. Nigel from Zedsun getting a nice little toe in. He's playing these cards very nicely there. He's got a willing diesel engine on the front in Jay Wild from Eat Dirt Cheap, who's putting in a world of work to try and peg this group back. Tough
Easing
effort.
up a little bit now. We still do have another 5 or so Ks until that next sprint. So, I mean, you can put in the work to get back on. And we've seen that extend a little bit as we see this little rise.
It's touch and go, isn't it? We're seeing 3 seconds to the front group. Now it's just stretching out. Oh, it would be heartbreak for these two riders if they couldn't latch back on here and contest the intermediate points for the top 10. It's just
you just gotta go for it. Come on, boys, get it back on.
Yeah, we're watching Wild's heart
at this point, you've gotta dig deep and just sit that next sprint out and hold on as long as possible.
Yeah, I think if I was Jay Wild from Dirt here, I would be flicking that elbow madly, trying to get Nigel from Zedsun Unleashed to come through and just close that gap. And as I say it, here we go, 5.7 watts per kilo. He's heard you, Josh. Maybe he's watching the live coverage. He's done exactly what you've asked.
It.
But has he dropped?
Lefty's poor mate.
Well, I mean, all's fair in Love of War and Zwift Racing League.
Look, we think we'll see them back on. There we go. Good, Nigel.
I think so. But beautiful move from Nigel there. Just took the sit, let Jay Wild do all the work, get that gap down to 2 seconds, and then surged over the top and nearly left him behind. So cunning riding from the Zedsun team there to maintain their numbers here in the lead group. So have we lost all of our AHDR choppers here? Josh, have I got that right? I'm just click through the riders list. Oh no, we've still got Barbara the chopper. So he's in the AHDR orange jersey. But the advantage is definitely with the chargers. So Yoza sitting nicely there in the front group. Who else have we got? We got Noel Kerger from Chargers in amongst it as well. And Atkinson, who we've seen prominent in the sprints as well. So, I mean, I haven't got a mental tally going on here, but my feel at the moment is that the Chargers have been prominent enough in those intermediate sprints and just weight of numbers, scooping up points each lap, seem to be in control of this one.
Yeah, don't forget, and Barbella has featured and from the choppers. That's what you were saying, wasn't it?
Yeah, Barbara's he's certainly been in amongst it. Who have we got here in the yellow with the stripes on the jersey? I'm trying to figure out which team we've got, because they're actually, they haven't got a team
The numbers
name.
now.
Yeah, well, we've got 3 there. We haven't seen these numbers, not these names, prominent Butler and Hua. Haven't been at the pointy end of the intermediates, but so I'm not sure exactly which team this is, but they've done well here to make, this elite front group. Maybe just saving some matches for the end. Obviously, the big points are over the finish line. So maybe a bit of a long game being played by this team. We'll have to do some digging to figure out where these riders, Ma, Hua, and Butler, are from.
TuneBikeworks.com.
All right. Yeah, they've been. Gonna have a quick.
Been there the whole time.
Standards. Yeah, they've been in amongst it. They're sitting 6th overall in the league. So you'd have to say a good performance here from this team.
Haven't seen them in the top 4 to 5 of each sprint. They've been just the top 4 or 5 in each sprint has been dominated by Zsun and AHDR, split by the Chargers and the Choppers. So are they just mopping up those minor points? Is that going to be enough to get over like the Barbella, who is picking up the bigger points, or the Ben Munro from Zsun Unleashed, or ZS Unleashed? I need to get that right.
I have seen a team from, or one of the racing teams from that squad, called Zsun, not Zsun. I don't know if that was just
Zsun.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just a particular British faction of that group, or whether that's the go.
Sure.
So I'm sure we'll hear about it if we've got any of their team. It's certainly one of the biggest
so
teams.
We see Tune Bikeworks heading to the front. They did this last lap, heading to the front through the first banner, but then seem to just mop up and pick up those minor placings.
Yeah, well, there might be more of a chance here. Just, I guess they've played a smart game and managed to stay in this group, which is getting whittled down rider by rider each lap, and so the chances of actually getting into the points are increasing every time we go through here. As we see some movement off the front, looks like Yoza from the Chargers saw him out of the saddle, and maybe a little bit of a planned move here. Although he's bringing along Barbella, his arch rival from the AHDR Choppers, it looks like these 2 riders just trying to get away at the very base of this climb. It's not much of a gap, though.
What it has done, though, is it's split up those Zsun Unleashed riders. Their formulated attack doesn't seem to be happening, broken up by Yoza and Barbella just having a red hot dip.
Yeah, if there was a plan in the back of the Peloton here, or any other teams, it's gone right out the window now. It's just pure survival and trying to chase back this move. So Yoza, as the race goes on, seems to be getting stronger and stronger. Once again, early playing of steamroller power-ups. They're going to run out well before the line. And have they done enough? Have they opened up enough of a gap? No more power-ups to play.
Starting to see a bit of a reaction from the bunch behind now. They were sitting in.
From Atkinson, 7 watts a kilo, coming over the top of his teammates. I think AHDR 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Split between the Chargers and the Choppers. Barbella representing hard for the Choppers. Here he comes, the man Ben Munro from Zsun with the steamroller flying through these AHDR riders.
Timed that power up perfectly. There's the timing right there.
Yeah, that was a really powerful slingshot. He's come straight over the top. I've got a response
Bella
here
holding
from
on.
Barbara from the Choppers is going to get into second. Yoza holding on nicely for third for the Chargers. Sorry, Atkinson's third, Yoza fourth. And then the splits. So Dirt in fifth and sixth. Tune Bikeworks and AHDR, Zedsun and Tune Bikeworks again picking up the minor placings there. And so getting into a rhythm now. Looks like Nigel from Zedsun off the back, one lap too many, couldn't hold on. And Jay Wild from Eat Dirt. So these two compatriots, they worked so hard to get back onto the group last lap. They closed down a 5-second gap at this point going around the Arc de Triomphe. It's 13 seconds this time. I think that's lights out for these two.
We can definitely give them points for. We can deliver points, but I don't think WTOR and Zwift Racing League will give them points for holding on in that last lap.
No, points for effort from the commentary team for sure. No bonus points though, although they're in a good position to. Yeah, tough call for those two now, whether they try and work together and get those better positions for the final finishing. Final finishing positions, or whether they're just going to fall back to that next group on the road.
So
we do
Kurga just trying to hang in there.
Yeah, he's going to be our chaser this lap. So it seems to be just the way of it. So, I mean, that for me, that's been the big takeaway so far about the races for tomorrow is just watching those splits going up and, long range attacks. We haven't seen anyone really. Well, I mean, we've seen riders wait and go late, but over the top of long range attacks, we haven't seen a bunch go close to that line before surging to it. It's all kicked off really, really earlier than I thought. And then that's meant that these pelotons, the groups have really stretched out and dropped riders coming across the top of that climb. So that's a big watch for me.
Yeah, I've thinking about what I'm going to play tomorrow, and I think there's an element of me that I just like to hold on and finish with a respectable placing, but it's not really picking up many points for the team. So do I go for something early or an attack over the top just to hold on, or a late sprint to then just hold on to the group for the first few laps? Then as there's a little bit of an attrition, push for a long range attack myself and call it then and there.
Yeah, would love to watch you go around. If we weren't racing at the same time, I would be interested to see how you went down, how you throw down in that intermediate sprint. So checking in with our comments as we sit in with Noel. Kurgri got it to within a second. Blowing out now to 4 seconds. Looks like that's going to be the end of Noel's time in the front group, and we are down to once again an even smaller bunch. We'll try and get a quick count on these ones. 11 riders left at the front.
Yeah, I'm counting 11 as well, Adam.
The Tune Bikeworks maintaining those three up the front. They just seem to have played a clever game here, not burning their matches on the climb, and they're in position to scoop some major points here at the end if they've got the kick.
Well, we've got 2 more sprints, so points just by organically absorbing them as everybody drops off and that bunch thins out, and then the final sprint coming at the 43-kilometre mark. So I mean, they may be able to finish up with some points, finishing that in the second half of this race.
Yeah, I mean, if they could get a couple up on the podium, they could, really do some damage and reel in the lead that these other teams have opened up in the intermediates. So that's going to be an interesting watch. AHDR Chargers slowly losing their numerical advantage. Still got their two most prominent riders, Atkinson and Yoza, in this front group, so they are still a force to be reckoned with. Barbara from the Choppers, representing for that team, he's been prominent throughout. And Team Dirt, I think we've got one from each, the Team Dirty Chum and Eat Dirt Cheap, representing their team. So
that's right. Nice, yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. Yep.
Nice little mix up front. So Yeah, Munro
And we know
for
that
Zedson.
Munro's that he's taken those is it 2 or 3 last sprints that he's taken?
I think it's definitely the last 2, and he might have had
Back
one
to your
before that
replay,
as well.
quick.
Yeah. So we had some issues with the replays, first time glitches and teething problems. I'm going to try again, and hopefully there's no audio that's going to come through on this one, because that was just making life very unpleasant for
Right.
the audience watching. So let's see if we can get back
Privileged to
to
see some insider notes, and
this
Mr.
effort from
Atomic
Munro.
earning his nickname from his
Take the audio.
amazing.
There we go. Take the audio off the replay. That's better for everyone. So head through to the sprint. So
There's
we see the AHDR boys kicking off, and then Munro with the steamroller. There was a question in the comments about how strong that steamroller is. You know, according to Zwift Insider, it's about sort of 10% bonus, so about 20-30 watts going up this hill on the climb. Maybe a little bit more in the sprint, but hard to tell, I think, from watching this, Josh, exactly what that effect has been and how strong it's been.
I stand by my work, and I think the effect comes from the length of the power up, 30 seconds, double the time of any other power up. So I think that's where the strength of it lies.
Yeah, I think you're right. The timing's been really interesting, though. I expected to see people popping it, you know, in that 30 seconds before the sprint banner. I don't think I've seen anyone take it to the line. They're using them to hold on as the bunch is accelerated, you know, 300, 400, 500 meters out, instead of waiting for those final couple of 100 meters. So interesting tactics on display.
Or is that just a rider mistake in the riding, where you see the banner and you press go and you go, oh, hang on a second, I've still got another 150 meters to go.
It is tricky, actually. I mean, this sprint, it looks shorter than it is. I mean, I raced it. It was the first time I raced it in a couple of months. In my mind, it was a lot shorter, that gap from the lap banner up to the sprint banner. But it just drags on. You can see it from a long way out, but you just find yourself climbing and climbing and climbing. And obviously, there's no distance counter like you would get at the finish line. So relying on landmarks, and I mean, if you'd watched the Zwiftaholics Know Your Sprint video, you would know exactly where to kick and how long you had. But yeah, in the heat of battle, yeah, a little bit tricky to time the effort maybe and time the power ups.
I think Sai made a point of it too. In
I think, Josh, we might be should be coming up to the finish here. I think maybe it's only 4 laps for the C and D graders, and Tune Bike Works. We called it. They've gone big. They're going for the podium. Our man Ben Munro coming close, but Hua from Tune Bike Works has taken this one out. Ben Munro, huge scoop of points. You'd have to say MVP there for him. He's taken second place there. I missed who was in third. We'll have to go back to the replay for that one. Caught me off guard. I had in my head, I thought all grades were doing 6 laps of this course. I'd missed the fact that the A's and B's are doing 6. Looks like the C's are only doing the 4. So let's just.
My apologies too. I was looking at 5 and 6 laps to go. Yeah.
I thought we had all this time to dissect this one. So let's just go back to our replay and just look at how that one played out. So good thing we've got the replay functionality working here. So we'll go back to.
I did see AHDR go to the front early as we came around the corner, and a big show. There was 3 steamrollers play out. And as we called it earlier, Tune Bikeworks sitting in and going for the win.
Yeah, nice team tactics there. Really played a smart game there, kept their numbers in the front, ended up with the most riders of any team left at the pointy end, and saw Hua just had the legs, saved it all for one effort, and delivered on it. So nice points haul there, right on the line. As you say, I think coming up through here, we see the AHDR, the coordinated effort here with the steamroller power-ups. They've timed this nicely, looking to go long. but Hua was all over it. He jumped up straight up to 6 watts a kilo there, hitting in, just getting the draft. Really well played from that rider. And at the moment on this replay, Ben Munro is still at the bottom of that rider list, but you can see him tucked in well there. Just getting a beautiful lead in actually from the Tune Bikeworks team. Tucked in there to Hua going for the win.
And played his steamroller too there.
Yeah, nice use of the steamroller here, and couldn't quite close the gap. Looks like Hua went from about that 300 meter mark. Munro pushing.
Oh,
He gets up
if
to
he had another
second.
5 meters, I think he would have got it.
Yeah, he definitely had the momentum there. He was coming quickly. Yoza, our man, and
There's
thank you,
Yoza in
Yoza,
third.
for the invitation tonight to cover this one. We've really enjoyed it. He got up for third by the look of it. Ma from Tune Bikeworks over the line for fourth. And then we can have a guess there. Looks like Butler as well for Tune Bikeworks in fifth. So it looks like a planned effort there from that team just to ignore the intermediates and put it all in on the put all their eggs in that final basket, and they've collected first, fourth, and fifth. So a really nice haul there. Barbara from the Choppers in sixth, and Atkinson from the Chargers in seventh. So nice result there for the AHDR Chargers. Going to be fascinating to see how this one all comes together. Josh, who do you feel for who our winner is from group?
Yeah, I was scrambling to see if I could jump on to see where Tune Bikeworks are sitting in the league stand-ins.
Yeah, they're sixth at the moment. So
right,
really
okay,
good showing.
yeah. Just wonder how much points they mocked up in those lower in the lower end of the intermediates. They've obviously shown force for the last sprint, picking up those bigger points. I'm thinking that Ben Munro and Barbella picking up the lion's share of the points on those intermediates, and then Ben Munro also being there in second for the finish. I think we might see ZS Unleashed at the front.
Yeah, that's was sort of my gut feel as well. I know the Chargers were prominent. Sort of trying to do my math on Tune Bikeworks. I mean, 40 points for the win. Probably another 40 for the other couple of spots. So if they're on 80-ish, yeah, we would have seen Zedsun getting at least that through the intermediates, and then a nice little 35 there on the line. So with their numbers through the intermediates, they're probably on top. And then the Chargers, yeah, hard to call. They were prominent early on. I mean, they had 3 or 4 riders picking up points in those first couple of laps as well. So too close for me to call between the three.
I'm going to go with ZS Unleashed, mate. I'm calling it.
Gonna go Dead
Making
Silent.
a
I am
decision.
actually. I'm gonna back our boys. The AHGR Chargers. I think they just had enough numbers early on collecting the primes. We don't know how the fastest segment time went down because we couldn't have that vision. So that's the other one, and we don't know. That could very well have been decided further down the race as well, outside this front group. So
I'm going with our man Ben Munro, who's just showed dominance throughout that whole race. I think most aggressive rider, and I think taking the points leaderboard for me tonight.
Yeah, well, definitely most valuable player. Will have the most individual points for sure. He was absolutely, aggressive. Well, showed he could do both really. Showed he could go off the front. Showed he could time it from the back. Showed a withering sprint finish as well after contesting all 4 intermediates very, very hard. So brilliant riding from these riders. Great battle. We really enjoyed it. Some great chasing on from the back. Nice use of power-ups, some nice team tactics. I really loved that coordinated Zen-side attack. 3 of them going for the sprint banner. So brilliant racing. Looking forward to jumping out on course tomorrow morning.
And then time trialing next week again, Adam.
Yeah, back to the TTTs. Always good fun.
Magnificent 8 would be a TT.
Yeah, well, we're getting to the pointy end now. So, I mean, this is obviously the last of the true sprinters races we're going to see. Back to a hilly finish, which is going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Just checking in quickly before we sign off with our YouTube comments. So thank you everyone for jumping in, for your interaction, for letting us know that the audio was messed up on the replays. Thank goodness we fixed that. We were able to watch this finish go back and forth a couple of times. Roman, no insight on faster segment time. Sorry, because we couldn't get into the event. We couldn't see that leaderboard. So those points are up for grabs. We'll have to see how the results play out. And yeah, Robin, the steamroller, the length, I think. I think with Josh, having that 30 seconds just is going to be really beneficial for the for that climb, and also if you're trying to catch back on, as we saw that fracture so much. You know, that race, even out of the gate, it fractured, and then every single prime as well. So you can only imagine the A and B graders doing 6 laps over the rest of this round. We're going to see it happening more.
I think, I'm going to just try and hold in for the first lap or two, Adam, and then I'll, throw everything at maybe a sprint and take some points, hopefully, and call it then. Don't expect to be able to get back on after that.
Yeah. Oh, it should be good fun. I'm hopefully going to survive 2 lots of racing, and then, looking forward to catching up with Simon Bradley on his channel in 24-ish hours time as a bit of a recap on the round. So we'll see how this plays out. Will we see the same things we've seen here tonight with that attrition, with those early moves up the long cobbled climb? Can't wait to jump in, sweat it out as for Team AHDR over the next couple of time zones. So thank you all for tuning in and watching. Had a great time with you all bringing you the race tonight, and thank you, Josh, for jumping in commentary.
Thank you again, and good luck to everyone racing this week.
We'll see you guys next time.